Hi, I'm Michelle Plasick with RE/MAX Realty Advantage.
And I'm Kim Malden with RE/MAX Realty Advantage, and together we are Buy, Sell, Love San Antonio.
And as promised, we are here to talk to you about how to fight your taxes.
Yes.
It's such an easy, simple process.
It really, really, really is.
Yeah.
And it seems so daunting if you haven't done it before, but it's not hard at all. And it takes absolutely less than an hour and usually not more than like 15 to 20 minutes.
You would need some comps, and that's where we come in. We can run some comps for you, which just means that we're going to look at the houses in your neighborhood or within a mile, depending upon how many houses have sold within the last 6 months. And once we get those, we're golden. We can look at those and make a comparison, and then you can fight it.
Exactly. And I was just telling Michelle, I had a client, Debbie. Hey, Debbie. Who fought hers successfully. She actually got exactly what she asked for. And when you fight your taxes, the appraisal office is going to say, what do you think your house is worth in all of the process of it? And she gave her number, and they came back and agreed because she was realistic.
That's the key. You have to be realistic. So bottom line is, you look at the comps, you decide in your own mind, what do you think it's worth? Number one, first of all, before we even start talking about that, hopefully you have a homestead on your property if you're living in it, because that way there, like these taxes this year, the market value went up so high, but if you have a homestead exemption on your property, your tax assessment won't go up as high because there is a cap of 10% on that amount. So you can't pay more than 10%. But your market value could go up considerably.
Exactly. So if your house was worth $100,000 in 2019, and you happen to be in one of those neighborhoods that saw a huge appreciation over 2020, and now it's worth $300,000, the appraisal district can only tax you on $110,000 if you have that homestead exemption. Your house can still be worth $300,000, but they can only tax you on $110,000.
Yeah,
so that's really important to remember that, because a lot of us get carried away and we're like, my house isn't worth that much. But it's really, they can only tax you on 10% more than they did last year.
And so the process is really easy. You can do it by mail, you could do it by email, or you could go right online, which is what I did last year. It was so simple.
Yep.
There's a portal.
There's a portal. If you go to bcad.org, that's Bexar County Appraisal District, bcad.org, you can go to, there's a icon on there that says property values and portal, I think.
Online services.
Online services. Go there, and then you'll see the portal, and you can register for an account. They'll give you your PIN number. And of course, your owner ID is on your bcad.org statement, which you can also see online if you search your property. So put in your property and search your address.
And then you just, enter just like you would anything else. You're going to fill out the form and say, yes, you want to protest your taxes, and then they're going to ask you for an amount. You put in an amount, make it reasonable. Obviously, it's gone up considerably in San Antonio, the greater San Antonio area. It's not just San Antonio. It's not just Bexar County. It's pretty much all of Texas. The market values have gone up considerably, so you want to be reasonable.
Yeah, and I mean, having equity in your home is a great thing. Obviously, none of us want to pay higher taxes, but it's still a really good thing that your home is worth more, because that's a wealth builder.
Absolutely.
So the other thing is they're going to ask you why your house is worth less than what they think it's worth. Give them photos if you can. I know I fought my taxes last year for my little casita, and it is a 1964 house with asbestos tile floors, still in one room, and the shingles on the outside of the house, the siding is asbestos. And so I was able to provide them pictures of all of those things and say, hey, this is why I think my house isn't worth what you say it is. And sure enough, it was less. I got some off, which I was very happy about. And our chief appraiser is Michael Amiquez. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong.
Right. It's a hard one.
It's a hard name. But anyway, I met with him a few years ago, and he told me, fight your taxes every
year. That's what he said again yesterday in our meeting.
Yes, every year. And you know what? Even if you only get a little bit this year and a little bit next year, each year it adds up exponentially because you can't go backwards. But as long as you're keeping a little bit off each year, it does add up exponentially when they're putting on that 10%.
And one thing, when you're first applying, they ask you, there's a question, do you want them to provide the examples of what they used for comps? It's very important that you check that yes.
And it's a red line or a red box, I believe. So, yeah, it's really important that you ask for what their comps are.
Right, because once those are the comps that they used as of January 1, and there might be different comps now, but if and they'll look at your comps even if they're different. But once they've used those comps and looked at your comps, you can't introduce any other comps after that once they've made a decision.
Right. So they can't add any others either, which is why you want to check that red box. Because if you don't, then they can go back and look for more. So check that box.
So one of the ways people are always wondering, well, how can I determine, what the value of my house really is? And when you find the comps that we would send you, it's going to show different square footage of different properties. And there might be a house on your street that's the exact same square footage as yours, and one could be, $20,000 higher, and one could be $20,000 lower than yours. You're going to want to look at, like Kim was saying, the things that affect your house. You're going to take pictures of the worst part of your house, the things that you haven't done.
Yep.
And also think about the neighbors. Like I had a call from one of my clients, Troy, if you're watching, this morning, as a matter of fact, and he said that one of the house right next door to his is vacant, has been vacant for 2 or 3 years. He said he thinks that there's vagrants living in there occasionally. Everything's overgrown. Everything's just a mess. So he took pictures of the house. He said, this is right next door.
Yeah.
Unlike the house down the street, which has the same square footage, that has 2 beautiful houses next door to each other.
Yes. And yes, your neighbors can affect your value.
Or if you have railroad tracks in the back of your house or
Right.
something and nobody else does.
Exactly.
Think about all those little things that could affect your property.
And for those of you who have new or newer homes, and there's still new construction happening around you, that affects the value of your property as well, and not in the way that you think it does. Because if you go to resell your home, you have to compete with that new construction. And I think that's what helped my friend Debbie so much, is she knew that she would have to compete with those newer homes. They just bought their house 2 years ago, so she's not moving anywhere. But saying that to the appraisal district, knowing that she'd have to lower her sales price in order to compete with new construction, really did help her. So if you're thinking about doing this and you have questions, please call us. Let us know how we can help you.
Yes.
You don't have to be buying or selling a home to use a realtor.
Right. Another point that we should make, Kim, is that there's an informal process review, and then there's a formal review process.
Correct.
The informal is pretty easy. You can do that by phone. You can do it by Zoom. You can do it by just email. That's how I did mine last year. It was just email.
Yep.
I gave them one number. They threw back another number and said, "Would you take this?" And I thought, "Okay," and I took what they said.
Yeah.
Rather than ask for a formal meeting where I had to go down and sit in front of a panel of 3 and give them all the information.
And I did do that 2 years ago. And I'm glad that I did. It was a great learning process, and I got a little more off my taxes. But it was a really great learning process, and it allows me to help y'all a little bit better.
I think that's probably it, isn't it?
I think that's about
We've
it.
covered it all.
So
Yeah, if you're looking to fight your taxes and you need us to do some a comparative market analysis for you, it takes us just 5 minutes.
Yep.
So email us or private message us.
text us, call us, send us
Whatever.
smoke signals, whatever you got to do.
Happy to help.
And then be sure and check out, for this information and a lot of other great information, buysellove.sanantonio.com is our website, and there's a ton of great resources on there, so check it out. All right, thanks y'all.